Hey guys, you're watching Daniel and Gian talking. Today we're going to be doing a full review of the 2013 feature film Queen, starring Kangana Ranaut. It's a story about someone finding themselves. From the start of the movie to the end of the movie, she's a completely different person. And we see like how she grows, why she grows, and why she turns into who she is at the end of the movie. The movie starts off with, and it got me hooked, was they start off with the pre-wedding party where everybody's dancing, having a good time, smiling, and I just had a really fun time watching it. I liked the music. I liked the song. I just had a good time. I liked where it was going. It was fun, you know, and it seemed genuine. Like, it makes me want to go to an Indian wedding now, even if that's an exaggeration of it. I want to see, like, you know, I would love to go and be a fly on the wall.
I like the opening because of what happens right after what you just said. How it goes right into the breakup. Just completely shatters everything, throws the whole movie on its head. You know, because it's like you said, they do the full-on motions of these, like, we're gonna dance, we're gonna party, like, make sure everyone has, you know, make sure the food is in the right spot or whatever the grandma was like organizing, whatever. And then, like I said, he just comes in that freight train and just wrecks everything.
And I like that they did it at a coffee shop the day before the wedding, rather than him just not showing up wedding at all.
Which is also cheaper to do it that way. It's 100% cheaper. They shot over 140 locations over a 40-day period.
Oh, wow.
No, 3 or 4 locations a day. Yeah, I was doing some reading. It was actually pretty impressive, like the amount of work they were doing. Actually, she got writing credit because there was like a lot of improv and a lot of the dialogue was her own.
Oh.
Yeah, and then she was like writing certain situations throughout. But no, I just like the way it felt real. However, it was a little convenient, and I know that bothered you throughout the movie, that there were these...
When she got to Europe is when all, like, the really, like, convenient things started happening.
Honeymoon is not out of the picture.
No.
Of course, why wouldn't
it was a paid... I'm assuming it's a paid-for trip already. She's not going to take the trip.
Exactly, and they were talking about it. There's flashbacks. They're talking about, I want to make this trip to Amsterdam, to whatever. Like, that's not convenient, but, like, the girl's name that she rooms with is Vijay or whatever. It's the long name, but they call me Vijay.
It's Vijay Lakshmi.
It's like, okay, you could have picked...
Call me Vijay. Yeah.
Why?
Right, exactly.
Why? That's my question. Why? Like, when I saw it, I rolled my eyes immediately. I wasn't like, oh my God, what a coincidence. I was like, you could have named her anything and the story would have been the same. I wasn't so much bothered by because it's a movie, you got to take a leap of faith.
That wasn't really what got to me the most, but the whole Italian restaurant thing was a weird scenario that also didn't pay off later. Like, it did nothing to advance the story at all.
I mean, it kind of did.
How?
She got her first kiss.
That's weak. That's weak.
I mean, it kind of did
that was a big build up for nothing.
You could want him to fuck.
You could have got rid of that entire sequence and the movie would have been just fine.
That
it didn't add to the movie whatsoever.
The first one or the second one or all of them. First one being like that when she goes down to have lunch, and then she has it there, and then he's like, "What you want? Just cook your own shit, basically. Like, get out of here."
Yeah, I mean, that whole scenario, like,
I thought that was fine. When he brings her back
and that was
to cook for the sailors or whatever, I was like,
and why? And then, like,
why would you do that if she pissed you off?
The cooking part, I mean, I guess because she worked at her parents' like sweet shop, you know, and then there's one flashback where she's making Chinese.
But even then, why would he do it?
Yeah, exactly.
Why would the
maybe
guy...
he felt bad for being an asshole?
Unless it was Priyanka Chopra, and he just wanted to smash.
Right, exactly.
I'm not saying she's not attractive. I'm just saying she's not Priyanka Chopra.
No, definitely not.
Because
she's not fucking VJ.
She's not.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying though.
Yeah.
You could see his motivation, the Italian guy's motivation, if you're dealing with the bombshell there. And you're like, okay, let's show me what you got. Whatever.
Like,
I'm gonna act all
look
smooth.
at this beautiful woman. Hey.
The casting wasn't bad though.
No, he was fine.
Like the actors were fine.
Yeah.
Despite this like circumstance though, if you still enjoyed her character arc.
Oh,
Like, even though there was like these lulls.
Well, I enjoyed her.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, she was great. Like,
even though
she's a very talented actress.
Even though she was doing all these things where you didn't care about, you were like, you were still with it.
No, absolutely.
She was the one championing it.
Except for the whole cooking thing, like that was like that for me was like big eye roll because it didn't do anything. It didn't advance anything for me.
What was her arc to you?
I think she went from like average.
Traditional.
Average.
I would say traditional.
Like Indian girl, like
you're gonna be married to this person.
Yeah, exactly.
This is what's gonna happen.
And just the way she looked, like you could see as the movie progressed, she started looking different. Like she started off real
straightening her hair by the
yeah,
end.
exactly. At the beginning, she was like real frumpy, wasn't wearing makeup. She looked. I was like, and then towards the end, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. You started like, as the movie progressed, and she was pulling her hair back.
Are
And
you saying that women need to wear makeup to look attractive?
not all of them, some of them.
Some of them.
Some of them it helps, but
a lot.
Yeah, you saw that she starts looking differently.
Do you think men, if it were acceptable, men would wear makeup to look better?
It's acceptable in South Korea.
Is it?
Yes, sir.
I didn't know that. Well, okay, but in America then, do you think if it wasn't if I came in right now wearing makeup, well, it kind of makes sense because it was filming, because talent wears makeup all the time. For those who don't know, like your most popular stars are just caked in makeup. That's just what it is. But on a regular basis, if we were going to go to like a bar or something and I just came in makeup, not like goth makeup, just makeup, and you could tell, what would you say?
Yeah, like
keep it
societal.
PC, 'cause I know you would say something.
Societal norms. Yeah, I'd be like, what's going on, dude?
How much dick did you suck before you came here? But so
how much dick are you trying to suck
tonight
once we leave here?
So but anyway, I totally derailed that.
Yeah.
But I mean, what made it impactful to you though?
I just like
made it impactful.
I like seeing the way she grew. I like seeing how she had one idea. It's how she was freaked out at the beginning of the movie. Like the VJ's behavior was like not necessarily repulsive, but she was like taken aback by it. And then by the end of the movie, she was just accepting people.
Are you glad she didn't turn into like a whore?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I feel like the American version, she would have slept with like I was waiting for that moment for her to like sleep with people. And even the moment with the condom scene, she's like, "Can we do something else?" And they did something else. I was surprised by that.
Right.
That's probably a budget thing, but even still, like the fact that they didn't go to the club and try to pick up guys.
Well, it was also her like finally getting over her phobia of the Eiffel Tower,
which is,
I
hated that whole bit. Like I enjoyed it. I needed one shot. She sees the Eiffel Tower. She has the flashback of the conversation, and she's like, "I can't do this," and she walks away. That would have been enough.
Well, because it was like that was her main thing. The only reason why she wanted to go to Paris was to go see the Eiffel Tower with her husband, and now it's like.
Did it need to be that extreme?
Yeah, it was a little.
Literally, there's a guy like opening his coat with Eiffel Tower pendants and stuff. Like that was a little bit too.
It was a little heavy-handed. Yeah, I'll give you that much. But at that for me, it wasn't that big. It didn't take me out that much.
But going back to VJ though, and her, that first night of drinking, I feel like it was pretty good. It was a good thing.
Yeah, well,
because she went through the emotions of like.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
She was happy, and then she was sad and crying.
And she was angry.
And then she was angry, and then happy again, and then the Bollywood song came on.
Yeah.
Like she was a typical. I shouldn't say typical, but she was. We've seen this drunk girl at a party.
Absolutely.
Let's just put it that way.
It was real.
It was real.
It was definitely real.
And it.
I appreciate it, and she did a great job with it too. I thought it was hilarious. Like she was super funny doing.
She's wearing like that sweater.
Yeah.
And she takes it off when she's doing that Coyote Ugly stuff.
Yeah.
Which is funny. I don't know. It's just I liked it. I liked that whole bit. It's just. But what did you feel the same?
No, I loved it. I loved that bit. I thought it was great. I like how VJ was just sitting there chilling, drinking her wine. They also at the time they hadn't established if VJ speaks Hindi at all. So she's just sitting there fucking yelling at her in Hindi, and she's just like.
But I also liked that VJ had a kid. Ronnie asked her, "Is that okay here?"
Right.
Because she reveals like I don't have a husband or whatever. She's like some parts, right? Because that's kind of like here. It's like, but I like that because there's that certain reality that is absent, I'm sure, from Ronnie's life back home, where. Yeah, there might be some people who are having kids out of wedlock,
and they're shunned.
But they're shunned. They're like the shame of the family. They're not going to, I mean, it doesn't show that in the movie, but I'm going to make an assumption because that's how it is for certain families here in
that's
America.
why she asked, is that okay here?
Exactly.
Because obviously it's a,
but I like
there's
that.
certain parts of America where it's not going to be accepted,
It is a convenient circumstance to tie it back to earlier because it's like, of course she has a kid. Of course she doesn't have a husband.
Right.
If anything, she should have a husband and a kid because it would break that stereotype of her even though she was sleeping with people, but that's another subject. But I'm just saying, like, the fact that it's that little commentary, because the kid didn't become a plot device later on. It wasn't something where, like, the kid was lost.
It was just like a reflection of life, the lifestyle, the difference in lifestyle between Paris and, you know, whatever, Delhi.
And the thing I enjoyed most about it, though, is it was a serious subject. I feel like nothing in the movie got too serious because there was that humor to balance everything out. Like the dad and son when they're all Skyping each other, and then VJ's there and you just see her tits.
Yeah.
And then the dad and the son are like all of a sudden they're all attentive. Like that was funny.
That was hilarious.
Those little bits are funny, and then
grandma walking by.
The grandma's hilarious.
Adult film,
yeah.
Huh?
The grandma was funny. That's not to say everything that was funny was good, because I feel like we both agreed that the hostel bit was too much.
Yeah.
At least with the roommates.
I've never stayed in a hostel, and I that's like part of the experience. It's like you like shack up with people you don't know, and then you kind of make friends because of it. Funny enough, I picked someone up earlier. They were staying at a hostel together in Santa Monica. A girl was from Denmark. He was from Washington D.C. or whatever.
They're gonna have sex.
And they told me, like, he's like, hey, you want to know how we met? And I was like, sure. And he's like, yeah,
we were watching Queen on the plane.
We were in an elevator, and she said she was going to go here to the Getty, and I said, can I come? And that was that. They went to the museum together.
They're definitely going to smash then.
I hope so, man.
Because if that's all it takes,
I hope so.
He's going to get it in.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
But
you know,
I mean, so there's that aspect to it, but at the same time,
that part didn't bother me. It was the actual, like, the little stories of, like, Japanese guy with the tsunami. Like, it was false sadness.
Yeah, exactly. And it didn't advance the story either. That's the thing.
That's the thing.
Like, he wasn't an important enough character for me to have some sort of backstory. Like, we didn't need that.
The Russian guy, like, I was expecting him to make a move on her.
Exactly. And it looked like it was going to happen, and then it just never happened.
Which I guess is okay, because you're leading the audience in one direction, but at least acknowledge it. I don't know. I just felt like by the end of that movie, she had to lose her virginity. I don't know why. But I mean, it's like, because for me, in the moment, and I'll talk about why this feeling is now wrong, but in the moment I was thinking, like, that's the ultimate form of, like,
revenge,
sticking it to the guy,
right.
You know, sticking it to Raj Kumar Rao's character. One thing that I liked was the second girl that she comes into contact with in Amsterdam, the stripper girl at the red light district. Now, two things. One is, do you have any red light district stories? That you can share.
I went to a sex show, and
that this girl would be working at, right?
Yes, but I highly recommend not going to the sex show in the red light district. It was nothing. It was just the girls
ladies.
The girls in the windows are not the performers. Let's just put it that way.
No, you got to tell me more than that.
Yeah.
There
was definitely some old ladies in there.
Like 75-year-old ladies?
Some overweight ladies. It's just not a good time.
Like, real overweight, or what are we talking about?
Yeah, but not like fetish
like
overweight.
Me overweight?
Like somebody's mom.
Are they
wearing a mask?
SBBWs?
No. It was just
someone's mom.
Like, it starts like you get, it's like you're like, oh, excited to see it, and then when you actually see it, you're just like kind of disgusted by it.
What is it? What happens in these? Is it a strip? Because in the movie, they're just strippers, basically.
Yeah, well, the movie didn't really touch it, you know. In the red light district, every single person in that window is a prostitute, and you go up to them.
That was clear.
And you negotiate with them, and then they open the door, and then you go in.
And you just smash.
And you smash after you negotiate your price.
You get paid well?
I don't know.
They said?
I went with my wife, so I didn't get to partake.
Oh.
So I couldn't tell you that much, you know. Maybe next time.
Okay, well, you know, I knew that you've been there and you've experienced it.
But it's like that. Like, you walk down this, it's like, so there's a canal, and then on either side of the canal, there's just girls in the windows with the red light behind them, like, flirting with everybody walking by. And then,
Can you talk to them?
Yeah. Yeah, but you only talk to them for so long before they start, you know, and they tell you to piss off when they realize that you're just a mark.
Wasting their time.
Yeah. Obviously, they don't want you taking pictures.
So you mentioned something earlier before we started rolling, and we kind of started to talk about it, but we can continue it now. Because you wrote extreme woman lifestyle. Like, you weren't a fan of that. And I didn't really understand what that meant, but re-explain that for the audience.
So I liked VJ. I thought she was great. She's a good performer, nice to look at as well, you know, if we're going to be superficial.
She was.
That like, relationship between them because it made sense. Like, even though I said it was convenient that an Indian girl next to an Indian girl, it made sense for it. Wouldn't have. I don't think it would have been as impactful
if it was a white girl.
If it was a white girl or anybody else. Like the fact that there was an Indian girl in France. So that was good because I feel like it wouldn't have been as impactful if it was somebody else. And yeah, so it's like, oh shit, it's an Indian girl living her life way different than I would ever live my life, and it helped her grow. But I didn't like. And then when you found the second one who was a prostitute, I just felt it was a little too much. Like they could have attacked that subject and it would have been just as impactful if like
it wasn't as ambiguous for you.
Okay. They didn't have to make her.
This girl's promiscuous.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't have to make her so promiscuous. Like her just drinking and like not wearing a bra and like dressing revealing could have been enough. Like the sexual aspect of it didn't really for me bring anything to the story, especially because if Ronnie doesn't end up sleeping with anybody anyways. You know, maybe if she had, then maybe there was some sort of influence there, but she didn't. Like the sexual freedom thing never.
Right. No. That. Yeah. And my only argument is this is one of the only times where I'll openly acknowledge that the audience matters here, because normally I'd say the audience, yeah, it matters to a certain degree, but we can all understand and relate to these movies in our own way, and that's what makes them special. But I feel like when presented to an Indian audience, it's coming from traditional values. Showing women outside of that particular region doing more promiscuous things or working for the red light district or whatever that might be in a 2.5-hour movie, these might be extreme, but they are slices of life of real people who do exist out there. Now, maybe the fact that they're Indian is a stretch, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But for me, that's the only thing. But I can see what you're saying, though.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess if you like want to make sure that there's no mistake who these women are, you know. But I feel like I give the audience a little more credit than that, because if we want to, if we're gonna assume that the culture is that conservative, like
I think
you know that you don't need to go to that extreme. But maybe you do.
I think if we're basing it off of movies, I think it is that way. If we're going to use movies as some sort of, not history lesson, but cultural teaching device, and let us know in the comments if we're wrong, but I feel like India is conservative, not universally, but the fact that in Pink, they couldn't even live together in the city, like girls living together,
right.
And that movie was made in 2016, and it was supposed to be a contemporary movie, that kind of says a lot. I'm not saying it's fucking Nazi Germany over there.
But then there's also Raman Raghav.
I'm not saying.
I mean,
it
might also be Delhi versus Mumbai. Like we don't.
This could be let us know in the comments. I'm being ignorant here, but because we're basing all of our knowledge off of movies, and that's good and bad, you know, because these are Indian films made by Indians. You know, it's not like an American's making Indian movies. So these are supposed to represent what it is, but we both know that American films don't exactly represent what really goes on.
No.
But there's some movies that do. Boys in the Hood is a good example of the 90s. Not necessarily now, but like that's a good example of shit that was going on, real stuff that was going on. But anyway, we could finish this whole thing up with what I personally thought was the best part, and that was the ending. I just liked how it ended with the thank you. It was simple, and it said everything. There didn't need to be a whole. She didn't need to lecture him. She didn't need to do anything.
Let's go back to that. We didn't discuss at all him.
Who, Raj Kumar?
Yeah, we didn't discuss that whole part of the story.
Sure, go ahead.
How the guy, you know, the change of heart
from one slightly provocative image, right, set him off.
Exactly. If it was that, like,
that's what it was.
Well, or was it familial pressure? Was it his mom that?
But they don't present that, so that's a stretch.
Well, they do at the end though, when she's like, "We're so excited to see her," and like, you know.
I
feel like that was like the vehicle, and it wasn't well.
Maybe, but Ronnie says, "But you didn't call me."
She does. She shuts it down. But
to me that means it wasn't a big deal.
I feel like the picture, it wasn't executed properly because the picture thing wasn't enough because it took him so long to finally show up.
Did you feel like it's a problem though that he wasn't as involved in the story? Because I don't.
No, that wasn't a problem at all. It was just this is me nitpicking. Like, you know, I just felt like I would have liked a little more explanation of why he had this change of heart. You know, a little more upfront about it. If it was the picture, I mean, it should have happened immediately, but it didn't. It felt like it took him a week.
What would you have done differently, though? What would you have done to?
If it was the picture,
another scene?
If it was the picture, yeah. If it was the picture, there would have been a phone call immediately.
We're assuming it was whatever.
You know.
Let's say it was familiar. What would that have added to the overall story, though?
I just think it would have developed his character a little more, and it would have made her saying no a lot more impactful.
I feel like they did get enough. There was some development there. In flashbacks, you got it whenever, because that's why I enjoyed it so much, because it was her story from the beginning to the end. It didn't really cut outside of if she's not involved in the scene, there's nothing else going on.
Right.
And I like that and that's what makes a movie strong. That POV, that character POV is very important, because when she's remembering driving, oh, I got to drive, flashback to him in the car. Oh, you'll never fucking drive. You're never going to learn how to drive. And she's yelling, he's belittling her. And then, like, you know, it basically shows, like, all the things. Basically, he's not the guy that she thought he was at the beginning, because now she's doing all these things that he doubted her on, or whatever that means, by herself. And that's kind of what helped her grow up. And that's why I'm saying the end to me worked, because if he didn't fucking stand her up, if he didn't put her through that adversity and force her to just, I mean, obviously he didn't make her go on the trip. She decided that on her own. But if that didn't happen, she wouldn't have grown up.
No, for sure. But I think, so then maybe if we're going to go with that, I think maybe we could have seen less of him. Maybe he just shows up at the very end, you know, instead of like kind of chasing her.
Yeah, him going to France.
Yeah,
and, like,
and then going to Amsterdam
was a stretch to me, because I'm thinking, unless it's cheap to go from India to France, because like in my mind,
last minute too.
Yeah, in my mind, I'm thinking,
or that's how wealthy his family is, but it wasn't developed as well.
That wasn't acknowledged. But he did throw in, like, I'll make sure my family pays for everything, whatever.
I think it would have been better if they either give us a little more of him or cut out less, or they just gave us less.
Would you think it would be cheap to fly from India to France?
No, it's not cheap to fly from here to France.
That's what I'm saying. It's like they're closer, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, but it just questions. These little things add questions that didn't need to be asked.
Yep.
You know, and I think the flashback you're showing his character, even when he goes and like to meet her again and try to win her back. If they're gonna do that, I wanted more of him, like, regressing back to his old self, which he
should have beat the shit out of, like,
or something like that. Like, he should have done something, but all he did was, like, kind of beg her and plead with her, and then, like, for a second he kind of judged her, but
because of the drinking.
Maybe like he, like, wins her back for a second. She thinks about it, and then he reverts right back to her ways.
So they should have fucked, is what you're saying.
Well.
I mean, that would have been an interesting turn of events if they had sex and then she was
yeah, like, or something else, or something where it made it look like she was teetering, but at no point did I feel like she was teetering to go back to him. You know, I felt like when she agreed to meet up with him, it was for her to say no.
Now, when she goes, I feel
and then at the end when she goes and says no, it wasn't, even though it worked, it wasn't as heavy for me, because it already seemed like she made up her mind in Europe when she left him to go to the concert with her hostel friends. You know, that was enough.
I agree.
That could have been the no. She didn't need to go and meet up with him in person. And
now that I don't agree with.
You think she needed to go and meet up with him again?
Yeah.
I don't know. He never won her back. That's my issue with it.
But maybe I was looking at the movie differently. But the movie was over when she was, like, at the concert. It was over, and then you enter Spielberg territory with the epilogue, where it's like, okay, let's resolve the plot line. But it was already resolved. And that's why I enjoyed it, because I was expecting her to, like, explain to him why it's not going to work out, and then have a back and forth where he begs her, this and that. Like, basically, the moment that already happened in the street to re-happen again at the end. That's what I was expecting, because I already knew she made up her mind, because it's the end of the fucking movie.
Yeah.
Like, she's not going to get back with them and piss everybody off. Like, that would piss the whole audience off if she got back with the guy, because it just
maybe.
It would. It wouldn't piss you off if they got back together.
Oh, yeah, no, it would have been dumb. But I wouldn't have been beyond the realm of possibilities.
Sure. I've seen dumber things. I've seen dumber things. Yeah. But I'm just saying, when that happened, that's why I like to thank you so much. Because it was perfect. She went to thank him. That's what it was. She wasn't going to beg him. She wasn't going to do anything else. She wasn't going to do anything else but to thank him, because she was already in that mindset. And that's why I liked it, because there was no tension, there was no anything.
Right.
Their only question was, what's going to happen? But not in a sense of, like, is she going to take him back? It was like, okay, what's she going to do?
Right.
She's clearly already decided that this isn't going to happen. But I don't know. That's it for me. I mean, I feel like we covered the whole movie.
No, definitely. Anyways, that's going to do it for us.
Oh, wait, hold on. We got to give the score. We didn't do that.
We did not give the score.
And then after this, guys, let us know what you guys would score this movie so we can kind of like compare answers or whatever. I'll start first. I'd say, I mean, obviously we didn't do like categories and all that shit, but it was a solid 8, 8.5. I'll just say an 8, but like for me it was like solid. I'd recommend it. Watch it, enjoy it. It's
and I gave it an 8.5 because I genuinely had a good time watching. I enjoyed watching it.
You actually wanted to watch it, which
I did. It was my.
It was your choice.
Well, it's the first. This is our first time with like a legit female lead. You know, I mean, you could argue the Pink, but Pink was
the director's
Amitabh Bachchan's film.
I would agree with that 100%. The director is the third owner in Phantom Films. He's like the.
Oh, okay.
So that's why the Phantom Films was
right.
Yeah,
and that's probably also why it has a little indie feel to it.
That's why it was probably good. I'm just saying.
But no, I really enjoyed it. If you haven't watched it, highly recommend it. Hopefully, you know, you stop the review halfway, watch it, and then finish the review with us. You know, we gave a lot of spoilers away, but it was a good time, and I'm glad we watched it. But that's gonna do it. Anyways, make sure to tune in next week. We finally review Baijan Bajrangi. I'm going to throw this out there. Daniel, probably not. But for me, if this film sucks, it's my last Salman Khan film. I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm not going to bother watching anything else.
What about if a new one? What if it's a new one?
If it's a new one? If it's a new one.
And that's not Race 3 or Race 4.
And we go see it in the theater? I mean, I'm sticking to my guns. If this movie is not good, if it's as bad as all the rest of them, I'm no more Salman Bhai for me. Daniel can do the stellar reviews on it. We've given him a shot. He's let us down.
This is his best movie. Everyone says it. It's his best movie. So if it's not,
yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna sit. Let me put it this way. I will second that, and I think the only time we'll watch Salman Khan is when we finally do our DG drink show.
Fair enough.
We can just fuck it, just shit on it.
Just drink and
enjoy
rip on it live.
Yeah.
And do it that way. But if you haven't done it already, make sure to check out our latest episode of Reaction Hour. A lot of good stuff there. But smash that like button, leave comments, let us know what you think, and we will see you next time. Thanks for watching.